Um, Hi, I'm a queer champion fan of British Blacklist, as I said. How are you? Andra? How are you doing?
I'm well, I'm great. Just, riding this wave of a lotness. How are you?
That is the perfect word, a lotness. Absolutely the word. How would you introduce yourself? Because you're kind of multi-hyphenated out here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm probably not the one. I probably just introduce myself as regular degular.
No, I'm sorry. We refuse to accept that. No, let me sing, and people will tell me that. Please start singing. So how would you, right? So please do not say you're
Hopeless extraordinaire from
you. That makes more sense. Yes. But I say that because I always, when I speak to people, I'm like, sometimes we downplay our talents and we don't kind of list every single damn thing that we're good at. And,
yeah. That's very true. Knitting, I'd be like, master knitter, probably one of the greatest eaters of all time.
See, that is an achievement, because if you're the greatest eater, I might challenge you. That's what I'm saying. I might challenge you on that. How would you describe your life right now, like in one sentence or a word? Today, what would you say?
No sleep.
Oh.
Or 2 words.
Oh wow.
No sleep, but blessed. I would say that.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool one. I feel like I could vibe with that one. Is no sleep during the press run, or no sleep because that's how you stay day to day?
That's how it is how I be. And then this press run, like even more so. But I mean, I'm a musician, we keep weird ass hours. Like we don't know how to sleep or do stuff like take care of ourselves. But so yeah, I do just kind of be like that. I don't sleep that much, but it's all amazing. The movie's amazing, dealing the music. It's like, you fueled by doing what you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And are you one of those people that get their creativity in the early hours, in the dark of night, or it just comes?
Yep. I wish it would come. I've been actually trying to train my inspiration to come at different hours. I've been trying to train it to be, and it's like, nah, I'm gonna do 3 a.m. again.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. So, you're obviously known for singing, of course, but you studied performing arts. So were you an all-rounder when you were young, or did you have to hone your craft like for singing or acting?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I guess I did do a lot. I danced for, 21 years. I did start singing, more when I went to this performing arts school, musical theater, and then since it was musical theater, there was some acting involved there. But it's just very different from so on camera acting. Like it's rude, it's intrusive, and it's like gonna catch every little like dishonest moment. On stage, I could be big and get away with it, and da 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 da. Camera's just like, nah, that was fake. You know what I mean? Just like, damn. So, well,
not to cut you, but you handled the camera being all up in your face very well.
Thank you.
I must say.
Thank you very much.
There were no flaws exposed. Well, for what we saw. Okay, I don't know about get it, but
thank you.
But what fed into it? Like, so from what you learned about the arts, where do you draw from, like, to inform your presence on stage when it comes to acting? And then when you're acting, is there anything from singing that you perform that you bring in to inform you or comfort you in positions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's funny too, because my acting coach, Tasha Smith, just brilliant, would remind me, because she knew that I happen to be a spiritual person, a person of faith. And so she also happens to be. And so she reminded me that she's like, the same anointing that you tap into when you're singing is the same thing when you're on stage. It looks very, very different. The processes to get there are different. But it's presence. You know what I mean? I think the thing that the school taught me is to sort of be present, and is to sort of this constant idea of overcoming your fears, overcoming that feeling of like, oh, I look awkward, and is this right? It's just like, be willing to look stupid for your craft, be willing to look crazy for your craft, be willing to look. And the more you do that, the less crazy you'll actually look. Trying to ride the line will have you in a weird space. So I think it really taught me to just go, if I'm going to go there, and to be present. And she helped me with that as well too. So, and that's something in music and in what I have now learned is in acting as well too.
I love that you said that, because I feel me being a critic and stuff like that, or you know, being part of the arts, I got to pass judgment sometimes, but I
Yeah.
do feel that there are some projects where you can see that the person on screen or performing in whatever way hasn't let go of their, it's not, I won't just reduce it to ego, but they haven't let go of the fear of looking stupid. So,
Of looking weird, you know. And that was one of the first thing I take care of my young cousin. I mean, I'll call her my baby, but you know, she's actually, you know, biologically my cousin, but she's 18, so that's my child. But you know, and that's one of the things, she's like starting to get into acting too, and she's been taking class, and she's amazing actually. But that was one of the first conversations we had. If you care too much about looking weird or looking stupid, that's going to get in your way every single time. So she's, you know, it's nice to see in them doing this sort of work to undo the awareness of self. You know what I mean? That we're hyper aware in a way that we think other people are super aware of us, but they're not really that. You know what I mean? Most people are doing their own thing, you know.
And don't even care. Yeah, I've had conversations with younger people in my family, like, you know, nobody cares, but I get it.
No one cares.
At that crucial age when it's like, if this hair is like this, they're gonna die. So it's like,
that is so perfect. That is the perfect example.
And when you get older, you're like, listen, this is cool.
This is what the hair is gonna be. Okay. I didn't have time to put on my ponytail today, so that's really what it's gonna be.
and that is maturity, and as Natasha Rothwell says, growth. So yeah,
real. That's real.
So let's talk about you playing Billie Holiday. I don't need to ask if you're aware of her. Of course you're aware of her, but what did you learn new about Ms. Holiday when exploring this role?
I think, you know, like you said, I did know a great deal. I think the huge thing that was revelatory for me was I didn't know Jimmy Fletcher. I didn't know about his presence in her life. I didn't know that he was sort of the agent that was her undoing, but also fell in love with her. And, you know, and I hated that I didn't know that. Like, I felt like Lee, and that's kind of what caused me to dive in with Lee, was he felt slighted too. Like, he was angry that the government was able to successfully keep this bit of information from him. And of course, why wouldn't they have been able? That's what they've done. You know what I mean? So I didn't know Jimmy Fletcher, played brilliantly by Trevante Rhodes, was a revelatory piece for me. And then also I knew about it because I know how I'm drawn to her, but to really research even deeper and to experience her magnetism as she lived in me on set was beautiful. Billie did not judge people, you know what I mean? And that was beautiful. She loved people and celebrated people as they showed up in her life. And that gave people safe spaces to be free because she desired to be free, you know? And so I think those two pieces for me were just like deepen my love and my for her and my gratitude toward her as well.
So I was gonna say, like, what stuck with you about her? What stuck with you about her in your research, and was it basically what you just said, I guess?
Yeah, definitely the magnetism and the strength. You know what I mean? The strength is so huge. I think, you know, we hear all of these reports, and someone said it beautifully the other day that people often want to look at Black women within the context of struggle, right? You know, and yes, we have that. Yes, that is a part of our lives and our daily going-ons and our history. It is. But what they don't realize is that the stronger undercurrent of that is triumph, because clearly we are still here. Clearly in America, you know, particularly, and I'm sure all over, you know, but it's the biggest growing group of entrepreneurship, the highest educated group of people. And that's just us doing us, you know. And so the strength of Black women, remembering that not only is, PTSD might be in my DNA, but strength and triumph and victory is also in my DNA because of sacrifices like hers. So that was, you know, the strength, the broad shoulders of Black women is really powerful in this film, and it sticks with me.
Oh, and I definitely, I mean, I watched the Billie Holiday documentary, and in what it's just her, it is that, it's her resilience, her strength, and her don't give her F attitude, but yet she did give an F, but that, you know, that lack of judgment,
You described it so perfectly. It is that sort of, I'm gonna do whatever, but I do care. You know what I mean? Like, and there was a bit of vulnerability, and that was a balance that Lee, I don't know how he does this, but he so brilliantly was able to capture that toughness and that fierceness, but the vulnerability, the brokenness as well too, and the strength. It was amazing.
So I grew up with I'm old. So I grew up with Diana Ross's version, and it was one of my, we're all together. So I grew up with Lady Sings the Blues, And it was one of my favorite films as well. And I learned Billie through Diana Ross's portrayal. But as a result, it warped my perspective of what she actually looked like. So it took a long time for me. Well, who is this? I can't reconcile. So knowing that you were stepping into Ms. Ross's shoes, was that intimidating? And was there anything about that performance that, of course, you might have had to leave on the table, but also informed how you were going to portray Billie, even if it meant stepping so far away from you?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. First of all, the whole goal was to step completely away from me. You know what I mean? And then to inform what I had there with, you know, the human elements of me. And that was just the brilliant direction of Lee, my great acting coach, Tasha Smith, my dialect coach, Tom Jones. But yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lady Sings the Blues. I'm a huge fan of Diana Ross. I happen to know about Billie Holiday at an early age. So I also knew that wasn't necessarily her face or the full picture of the story, but it was a brilliant, brilliant performance. And it was something that our culture, it's a staple in our culture, in the world, you know what I mean? And so one of my goals was to say, what was it? What was it about Diana? What was it about her performance that made it so dynamic and made it so iconic? And then on the other side, I went, okay, and now what was it about Audra McDonald's performance on Broadway, you know, that made it so amazing? And I think there was this world in between the two of them. Diana did Diana beautifully. She did Billie beautifully, but as Diana. Yeah. And she lived every emotional experience as she lived it, you know what I mean? And then with Audra McDonald, her sort of emulation, her mannerisms of Billie came through so clear. And so I was like, okay, great. I have to take these two worlds and I've got to find myself somewhere in between these two spaces. And that was something that actually I talked with Lee about early on. And he actually had, I had seen Lady Sings the Blues 8 trillion gazillion times, but he had Trey and I come meet after Trey was cast. He had us meet at his house and watch Lady Sings the Blues together, you know? And it was just a good reminder. Just like, okay, she brought a realness to it because she's really bringing herself. And that's how much of my life I have to give to this character. And then I have to put on top of it the movements and the mannerisms and the feelings and the why, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, it was, I didn't necessarily feel like intimidated because I actually felt very well insulated by Diana. You know, her son, because he's an incredible actor, was also on set.
Yes.
And he would share with me, you know, like, she is rooting for you so heavily, and was so, you know, just so moved by some of the beautiful things and compliments that she would pay. So I felt just so insulated and protected by Lee, by the cast, by Diana herself. And you know, it was just they gave me space to really be great. I have to give them all the credit, honestly.
I mean, and you did, like I said, I don't want to keep gassing you, but you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Really, you stood out and you owned the Billie that we need to see, that in this version where we're getting a more honest and real and raw.
Yeah, more truth. Yeah.
Yeah,
we're getting in more of what the government would never wanted us to know. You know what I mean? They didn't want you to know that they went after her for singing Strange Fruit under the guise of a war on drugs.
Right.
They didn't want you to know that she was integrating audience, that this woman was the great godmother of civil rights, that she reinvigorated Thurgood Marshall and the movement, along with the death of Emmett Till. And the great civil rights leaders that we knew really were inspired by her and by her sacrifice. And so we were never supposed to know that, because we were never supposed to have Black unity and Black influence and leadership and excellence. And so, and she represented all of that. So yeah,
autonomy and ownership and freedom, all those type of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So were there any scenes that you struggled with? Maybe, I mean, some of the drug taking scenes and Not So Great Men. And I was amazed and concerned to hear that you took up smoking, young lady. I was very upset.
Yes, I know. It's not, I will say, you know, it's not something I recommend. So I share it because it is what happened, but I don't want people to think you have to do this in order to get it. For me, that came from prayer, and that came from having a peace about these things. So I was very clear, okay, for me, again, my spiritual relationship, if God brought me to it, then he will bring me through it. So I had a peace about those things. I had, you know, I was even like, maybe I should start smoking weed, and maybe I should, because I don't in my life, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and it's not that I knock anybody who does, I used to, but I gave it up for multiple reasons. But so I didn't have a piece about that. So I didn't pick that up, you know what I mean? But I did have a piece about the cigarettes and about the so much gin for days. But sure, I'm about to go make me a doctor appointment for my liver right now. And I'm just kidding. But so I did pick up those things because I needed to feel it in my body. I was desperate, honestly. I didn't want to be terrible. I needed to know not just what it looked like to smoke a cigarette, but I needed to know what it felt like to be in conversation. Like, say you and I are here right now, and just that makes me, without even thinking, just pick up a cigarette, light up, and talk as if it's not there. You know, what is the unction that does that? And so, and it slowed me down. Honestly, the blessing of it is that it slowed me down in a way that Billie Holiday was. She was molasses slow, and I'm like, super fast, you know? And so it slowed me down. It helped me to drop into sort of the heroin scenes where I didn't have to think about the nod. I could just think about the emotion and what it is I was trying to cover and cope with and survive in that moment. And so, you know, for me, I had a piece about it. Again, I don't say go off and do it, but I was just, once I was in and I was committed, it was like, whatever we got to do, drop, you know, 40 pounds, fine, fuck it. Cut all my hair off, fine, fuck it. Smoke cigarettes, but you know, that wasn't their suggestion, that was mine. But you know, it was, I don't know, I felt more like her when I did it, you know.
Yes, and it came through on screen, so it worked. Thank you, but I'm also glad. Please don't do it all the time.
Yes, no, we're done with that for sure.
Thank you. We need your voice. But okay, you mentioned Trevante. You mentioned Trevante, and yes, the king that is Trevante Rhodes. You have some really I'm not gonna lie. All the ladies watching will be like, "You."
No, it was hilarious. I was actually, I gotta share with you. It was so funny, girl. Like, let me tell you something. He definitely has a draw and a magnetism and a huge strength and presence when he's in the room. Like, other than being an attractive person, you know. But I remember I was at a nail salon, and I'm gonna share this. And God bless you, sis, wherever you are. I love you to death. But I was in a nail salon. It's my day off. Okay. You know, everybody just want to take pictures of Trevante all the time. Meanwhile, I'm over here just like, come on, y'all, let's get Billie. Right. But he'll like smile the right way, and everybody's like, let's get him on camera. But no, that's my guy. Like, that's my ace. But and I was in a nail salon, I remember. And this lady's sitting with me, and she's asking me what I'm doing here. And I said, so I'm working on this movie, United, you know. She said, what's the name of it? I was like, it's called United States versus Billie Holiday, right? And then she was like, oh, I was supposed to work on that movie. She was like, that was the hardest no I ever had to say no to. I was like, oh man, I get it. You know, I'm thinking because of Billie, because I love Billie, right? The movie's also called United States versus Billie Holiday. So I'm assuming she's gonna ask maybe who Billie Holiday is. This was like, she was like, it was the hardest no I ever had to give. What's his name on that set? And I was like, oh, here we go, Brad. She was like, I think his name is like Trey. I was like, sis, finally, I was like, sis, you know his name. Everybody knows his name. They're all in love with him. So it's okay for you to be too. No problem. I was like, but this is my nail salon time, okay?
Let's get back on track. It's dummy. I'm Billie. Thank you.
I was like, this is an FYI, I happen to be Billie Holiday, but okay.
You know, just a little lone lady called Billie, you know. But yes, I mean, I don't even need to ask any more about Trevante, but you had great chemistry. They're giving me 1 minute, so yeah, but it was, I mean, you had a great chemistry. Was it, let me wrap up quickly. I'll move on. So, you know, actually his character as an undercover agent, and generally the pursuit of a Black woman daring to challenge the racist status quo. So your songs Rise Up and Stand Up for Something could be seen as political anthems too. But do you ever feel pressure to speak up about an issue, but also see the conflict of how easy it is for the system to target Black artists who dare to challenge the establishment? Is there a conflict? So, I mean, yeah.
100%, actually, absolutely. And that's a great question. And that's what I see. I think that's what Billie's empathy was for Jimmy Fletcher, for Trey's character, was like, everybody's like, don't trust him, don't do it. But she also understood, like, this is a plantation like mentality, right? This is plantation remnants here, and we're still fresh off, you know what I'm saying? So realizing that sort of, he had an idea in his mind that he was really being hired to be an FBI agent, you know what I mean? But he really, actually, the truth of it is he wasn't. They didn't want to hire FBI agents, and so they didn't want to hire Black FBI agents. And so it was, you know, in her mind, she realized that with Jimmy, he was just trying to do what was right. He cared. He didn't want to see drugs in his community. That's admirable. You know what I mean? He wanted to make a name for himself. That's admirable. He wanted to, you know, be successful, climb the ladder, provide and do. you know, what he thought was right and do things the honest way, do things the right way. That is admirable. And honestly, they made him believe that that's what he was really doing, you know? So we as people can't penalize each other for that. You know what I mean? And we just need to be, she was very aware of the system and how it was using him in a way that he was not. And so I think that's what fueled her empathy and her love and her acceptance of him. You know, even though she couldn't really go off and really be in love with him and take off with him because of her own trauma. But she also understood, like, he's trying to do the right thing. Yes, he might have he doesn't realize that he's being used as a pawn, but I'm not going to penalize him for that. That's them doing that. You know what I'm saying? And so he obviously then comes to his own revelation and realization. But I love that she was so forgiving with him. I love that she was so patient. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously Trey's just like a super duper lovable person. So it was a brilliant casting by Lee and everyone. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much, Andra, for your time. Brilliant performance, and I'm wishing you all the love and success because you did that thing. And
thank you. I appreciate you so much. Bless you. Thank you so much.
Don't you know who this is? She was thinking of something more special.
I'm downright flashy, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Billie Holiday.
Reporters keep asking me, Billie, why you do the things you do? This is what I tell them. We love you.
NAACP says Billie Holiday is the voice of our people.
I think we should integrate the audience for this show. Let's change it up a little bit. You know, blacks and whites sitting together.
You knew what you were getting yourself into when you decided to come on the road.
Get out my goddamn clothes.
I'm gonna take everything except your bra and your pants.
Which one of my songs is your favorite song?
Strange Fruit.
Yeah, it's a song about important things, you know. Things that are going on in the country.
This Holiday woman's causing a lot of people to think the wrong things.
It's a starting gun for this so-called civil rights movement.
Those lyrics provoke people.
Y'all got a plan?
She's a drug addict.
Exactly. I cut Strange Fruit.
I want to sing the damn song.
It's for your own good, okay?
I sing what the fuck I want.
Southern trees.
Get her off that stage.
They're strange fruit.
They won't let me sing nowhere. No clubs, no money, no nothing. You gotta understand, baby, right now I'm in a situation.
You said we could beat this, Billie.
I need some now.
Blood on the leaves.
You're like a hammer. Come right back and hit harder than before.
And blood.
She's singing it for all of us. Ain't no other Negro star bold enough to do it.
Black bodies swinging.
I'm being followed. I'm not gonna cower to no fizz.
In the southern breeze.
She's made something of herself and you can't take it because she's strong, beautiful, and black.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
You think I'm gonna stop singing that song? Your grandkids will be singing Strange Fruit.